हेलो। कैसे हैं आप सब लोग? लेट अस स्टार्ट विथ एंथ्रोपोलॉजी. आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस some topic on anthropology. Today is my first lecture, so I would like to interact with you and generate some insights about the subject, that is anthropology, that comprises of two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Each paper consists of 250 marks. As far as the scope of anthropology is concerned, from UPSC mains, civil services mains point of view, it has broader scope. It requires understanding of the concepts of the subjects. It is that kind of subject that will fetch you, or that can fetch you good marks. No, define good marks. कितने मार्क्स आ जाए तो हम कह सकते हैं कि गुड मार्क्स हैं? उसके लिए हमें ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स के रिजल्ट्स के ऊपर फोकस करना होगा. तो अगर आपके 300 प्लस स्कोर आता है ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स में, तो then your chances of getting selection for interview and selection in the final list increases. So that is the definition of good marks. There are various branches that I am going to take up with you. That is sociocultural anthropology, biological or physical anthropology, third is linguistic anthropology, and fourth one is archaeological anthropology. We understand the evolution of culture, how the culture originated, and how the culture gets evolved from the past time to the present time. So culture is evolving gradually. So various thinkers like E.B. Tyler, James Fraser, Alex Morgan, Margaret Mead, Ruth Benedict, Ralph Linton, Corrado Bose, Clifford Geertz, Turner, Schneider, Tyler, Conklin. Some thinkers that gave postmodernism theory of anthropology, then Radcliffe Brown, Malinowski, Levi Strauss, Edmund Leach, they have talked about the evolution of culture in their own way. There are having characteristics in each anthropological thoughts, various thoughts explained the formation of culture, the personality, diffusion of culture, spread of culture, the various structures of organization or organization structure, how culture fulfills the needs of individual as well as the society, how there are different components and these components are integrated, interlinked, are working in a network fashion. Some says Egypt is the cradle of civilization. Other talks about the evolution of culture, evolution of religion, like savagery came first and it was replaced by barbarism. And lastly, the third stage of civilization is of evolution, culture evolution is civilization. There are various theories that are here to discuss the organic evolution, how living organism passes through the different stages, how living organism evolved from simple organisms to complex ones, how there was evolution from monkeys, apes, and finally human beings. How do monkey evolved? how do apes evolved and how it led to the evolution of modern human beings. I was discussing with you basically that is irrespective of like Lamarckism, the theory of Lamarckism given by Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. He gave theory of inheritance of the acquired character and theory of use and disuse. He took certain assumptions that organism try to reproduce more and more in unlimited fashion. Charles Darwin gave the theory of natural selection in the book Origin of Species. Various concepts that he talked about in his theory are natural selection, variation, survival of the fittest, and some other concepts. Then came, so there was there was no talk of genetics during Darwin's theory. So then came synthetic theory of evolution. That theory integrated Mendel's genetics as well as Charles Darwin theory and combined into synthetic theory of evolution. This theory talks about that there are various factors of organic evolution, that is mutation, selection, natural selection, isolation, hybridization, genetic drift, mutation. So there are many biologists like Ernest Mayr, Dobzhansky, Fischer, R.A. Fischer, all were contributed to the synthetic theory of evolution. It has wide scope of anthropology. We talk about the development of anthropology, colonial powers initiated anthropological studies of societies. Village studies were undertaken to know the culture. Also, tribal studies were initiated, monographs were written, ethnology were discussed about various village studies. The pioneer of village studies were L.P. Vidyarthi, G.S. Gure, who studied about caste, race and religion. L.P. Vidyarthi studied about the sacred complex of Bodhgaya. D.N. Mazumdar, N.K. Bose, who wrote Hindu methods of tribal absorption. S.C. Roy, who studied Orvans, Mundas, Santhals, Aman Srinivasan, studied about the various concepts like westernization, Sanskritization. So there was impact of on the tribal society as well as the Indian society, the village society, like urbanization, modernization, westernization. It was having impact on the social aspects like joint families got converted into nuclear families. More focus was done on genetic equality. Lot of anthropologists that made discussed theories, wrote many books about the various societies. Village studies were undertaken. William Weiser studied the Jajmani system that is in an important component of village studies. Jajmani system was having a link with the various caste people. The caste people belonging to different castes were interacting with each other, and they were also dependent upon each other. So they were judgments and they were kamins. Kamins like blacksmiths, goldsmiths, potters performed tasks for the judgments, and judgments provide grains, millets, food to the kamins. So in this way, relation was set up between the judgments and kamins. But due to modernization, urbanization, what happened when means of transportation emerged in the society, rural society? So migration happens. Youth migrated from rural areas to the urban areas for jobs in the industries. So it changed the Jajmani system, and increase of technology also brought the many options for the judgments. Judgments were due to advancement in technologies, judgments were having many options and they were no longer dependent upon the Kamins, and Kamins were also having their options increased and were roaming going to cities. So westernization altered the social structure, brought social change in the existing social structure of the village. Women were given education for their betterment. So women also wanted to take up jobs. So late marriages are happening in the society. There is gender equality as well as far as males and females are considered in the society, and there is the shifting from urban society, from the joint families to the nuclear families. So, as I am discussing about joint families, so there are various types of families. Family on the basis of residence, matrilocal residence, on the basis of descent, matrilineal family, on the basis families are also categorized on the basis of relationship like blood relationship or marriage relationship. Families are categorized as consanguineous family and affinal families. Families were studied by G.B. Murdoch, Weston Mark, Kathleen Go. So gave definition about family. It is a social group where male, female, and their where couple live or and their children also live along with them, and family occurs due to marriage. So marriage is a union between male and female, and the offspring that are born out of them are legitimate offspring. You have to broaden your horizon and focus on what I am dictating to you. Write down in your notebooks. You will not be able to remember what I am saying if you don't do writing part. So yes, are we about marriages? There are various laws in marriages as well as rules of marriages, exogamy, endogamy, group marriage, hypergamy, hypogamy. Also, we have monogamy, polygamy. Then there are various categories of marriages. Preferential marriages like cousin marriage, levirate, sororate. So there are lot of types of family marriages. It is doing its work for a long time. You know, Paleolithic period started some 2.5 million years ago, and it lasted about 10,000 years BCE. Mesolithic period lasted from 10,000 BCE to 8,000 BCE. Neolithic period lasted from 8,000 BCE to 4,000 BCE. So there was a class was growing of priests, of rulers, of farmers in the Indus Valley civilization. I have discussed with you. There was growth of urban centers. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were urban centers. They are important sites of Indus Valley civilization. Lothal, it has artificial dockyard and it is also very important site. Burj Home, Gulf Coral, Sutka Jandar, Rakhi Gadi, Chopani Mando, all these sites generated huge amounts of remains that were analyzed with the help of absolute and relative carbon dating. When I talk about relative and absolute carbon dating, a relative date gives which one is younger, which one is older, and absolute date talks about or gives or indicates the exact age of artifacts. There are various methods like uranium, fluorine, and nitrogen analysis. It is used for relative dating. It is a relative dating method. So the absorption, the extent of absorption of fluorine and uranium indicates the age of organic matter as well as the decay of nitrogen indicates the also the age of organic matter. Potassium argon like radiocarbon dating, the decay of isotope radioactive isotope carbon 14 talks about the gives an indication of the exact age of of organic matter what potassium and it is used for calculating age of artifacts that are some 50,000 years old, and potassium argon dating is used for analyzing dates of artifacts ranging from 1 lakh to 50 billion years ago. Like thermoluminescence, the amount of heat released by pottery gives an indication of the age of pottery. Thermoluminescence that I have discussed, I am discussing with you that you will be able to remember all these things, and I am here to discuss with you here as I say that we also come to know our fossil remains. The fossil remains gives indication about the evolution, human evolution as well as the culture evolution of living organisms. Like we have found skeleton remains or skull bones of Australopithecus that belong to Miocene epoch, as well as Ramapithecus, Shivapithecus. Okay, so that were our ancestors, and also in addition, we have also discussed the phylogenetic status, that is evolutionary means evolution, biological evolution. When we say about phylogenetic status, it means I am talking about evolution. So we have talked about Homo erectus who discovered fires and who made use of stone tools like chopper chopping tools and had access. And he discovered Homo erectus discovered fire. So Homo erectus started eating soft foods. There was increase in the development of brain, and there was forehead was less receding in comparison to Australopithecus, and foramen magnum was forward placed and it's supported by pedalism. Also, femur is angled inward so that the weight of the upper portion of the body can be transmitted to the lower limbs, or you can say hind limbs. There are two types of limbs, forelimbs and hind limbs. So the our foot no longer became remained grasping organ. It became it became locomotion organ, and our foot became arched, and our big toe is no more non opposable. No, it is in the same line as other toes and femur. Our pelvis also became broad and basin shaped so as to support the weight of the trunk, and it also supported bipedalism locomotion, and our spinal cord became S shaped. Whereas if you see the spine of apes have a straight line spinal cord, and there is no forehead. So cranial capacity of brain is less in case of apes. So I was talking about two suborders, that is Strepsirrhini and Haplorhini. Strepsirrhini includes lemurs, norius. Then Haplorhini includes tarsiers. Then monkeys and apes. Monkeys are divided into old world monkeys and new world monkeys. New world monkeys includes, you can say, spider monkey, and I am forgetting the name of other, howler monkey, and old world monkey constitutes langurs and macaque. It's the old world monkey. And when I talked about apes, we have lesser apes like orangutan, gibbons. Then we have great apes like chimpanzee, orangutan, gorilla, and they all are great apes and humans. And another is branch is human. They both apes, monkeys, and humans have common ancestors that we have discussed in the phylogenetic status. So primates have they are mammals and they have stereoscopic vision. Mammals, primates, they have a reduction in the smell, and there is an increase in sense of sight. And primates, they are having larger brains. And primates are arboreal and as well as live on ground. They are arboreal and terrestrial living organisms. So primates are very important in anthropology. So primates I have discussed with you. Man is an order primate. So social organization depicts primates communicates with each other with the help of facial gestures as well as vocal sounds. And there is a prolonged dependency of mother of offspring on the mother. So that is something about social organization. They also hunt together. They live in groups. They want to protect themselves from the predators. So there it took millions of years that we attain the present stage. So there are two species of Homo sapiens, three species of Homo sapiens, that is Grimaldi, Chancelade, and Cro-Magnon man. So this Grimaldi represents the Mediterranean type, and Cro-Magnon represents the modern European type, and then Chancelade man depicts the African type, or okay. So that is all things you need to remember. And then I also discussed with you Neanderthals. There are two species: classical type, progressive type. In progressive type, we have, you can say, Lord Chapley ox saints. The species was found in France, whereas the Mount Carmel was found in Palestine, and it is an example of classical type. They have linear spira present, they have mystoid process present, they have low, no or very less chin. Supraorbital torus is not so prominent. Face is receding. Man is a orthognathic face. Orthographic face. Then they have a stocky body, taller body, tall structure. Then I have discussed with you the various somatotypes, that is endomorphy, ectomorphy, mesomorphy. I discussed with you Viola's classification as well as I Sheldon classification. Then another one is Heath and Carter methods of somatotypings that I have discussed. I am discussing with you. Then there are various stages of growth and development. That first stage is prenatal, then stage is birth, then childhood, then early childhood, then adolescence, then adult age, then middle adulthood, then senescence. So I have discussed with you the various theories of aging. I have discussed with you the various demographic profile, like how people live in the society, or how there are various theories talk about the growth of the population, the spread of the population, and the adaptability of the population towards the various environment, and how it brings about physiological changes in their body. Then when why the people living in the hotter region tend to have black skin, whereas the people living in the colder region tend to have fairer skin. So all these are due to environmental factors and genetic factors. And also the people living in the high altitude, they have higher capacity of lungs, and there is the pyro erection of hair in colder region, and in pyro relaxation happens in the hotter region. So there is also vasoconstriction, vasoconstriction in colder region, and vasodilation in the hotter region. Blood become viscous in colder region, and blood become less viscous in the hotter region. So that is why hemoglobin level increases in the higher altitude region. Hemoglobin is the oxygen carrier in the body. And also people have different body fat. Women have on an average more body fat in comparison to males. Pulse rate, people child pulse rate is high in comparison to adult pulse rate, and in the old age pulse rate decreases. So all these are EBO blood group, MN system, RH factor, various physiological characteristics like sensory perception. Then you can say this pulse rate, HB level, respiration rate are examples of genetic markers. So genetics codes this codify the information. Genes codifies the information. It contains instructions. So and the people having which type of skin color usually depends upon the alleles of the gene present in the human body. So I mean to say that all these are to be studied in greater detail, so that you people shall have a complete knowledge of all the things. No, I am focusing on another topic, that how applied anthropology is changing the lives of human species. So it is playing important role in the defense, in making of astronaut suits, in manufacturing guns, and it was also having a prominent role in the selection of athletes for the various games, like Olympic games, like Asian games, Commonwealth games. So these anthropometry measurements are done by the anthropologists. They also provided nutritional guidance to the athletes, also provided anthropology advocate the policy making to raise the educational standard, to raise the number of hospitals in the tribal areas, and also try to bring the backward tribals. These are called the backward Hindus by G.S. Gore, and our job must be to integrate the tribals with the mainstream societies of the country. So that is something that I have discussed with you so far, that you must understand the structures of the Indian social system, that includes Varna, Ashrama, Varna. So Varna, Ashrama, when I say that, so in Purusharthas are for Dharma, Artha, Kam and Moksha during brahmacharya ashram. The dharma of brahmacharya is to worship the god and devote his life for for attaining knowledge. And in the grasth stage, man participates in his marriage. He does marriage, and he tries to achieve material goals, and because that material remains are very much necessary to fulfill his rimas towards parents, towards rishi, towards dev, towards pitra means ancestors. ऋण उसको चुकाना है, उसको चुकाना नहीं है, उसको चुकाना है। ठीक है, तो दैट इज ऑल वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस। दैट इज ब्राह्मण, क्षत्रिय, वैश्य, शूद्रा, ये चार वर्णास हैं। तो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट धर्म्स होते हैं, अर्थ होते हैं, काम जो है। आप देखेंगे कि जैसे जो ज्यादा लालची हैं, जो फार्मर्स हैं, जो पेट को पालते हैं, वो उनको रखा गया किस कैटेगरी में? वेश्या की कैटेगरी में। अब शूद्र का काम थे था कि ये सर्विंग क्लास थी, और इनका काम था ऊपर की जो तीन क्लासेस हैं उनको प्रॉपरली सर्विस प्रोवाइड करना। तो ये था वर्ना सिस्टम, जिसमें हमने पढ़ा कि कैसे वनप्रस्थ आश्रम में क्या होता है कि वो मटेरियल लाइफ को छोड़ देता है और जंगल की तरफ जाने लगता है। वो अपनी वाइफ को भी साथ लेके जा सकता है। और इसमें जो संन्यास आश्रम में क्या होता है कि दैट ही completely leave the his home and resides in the jungles, in the forest, and do meditation and do dharma and do his duties. And in this way he or she will be able to eradicate, to remove himself or herself from the worldly affairs of moksha that is required. We are discussing about the various exogenous process of social change in the society, like westernization, sanskritization. We have literal tradition, great tradition, universalization and parochialization, that are part of the village studies. LP Vidyarthi made detailed studies about these concepts, and it has enlightened the youth or the people of the country. And also D.N. Mazumdar. Iravati Karve is the first female anthropologist. She wrote Yugantar, and he tried to portray the Pandavas in his Yuganta. And people studied about like IV Krishna Iyer also contributed academically they contributed a lot, and we had there is a more of a academical orientation and practical orientation. We design suits, okay, we design cockpits, we design workstation depending upon the anthropometric measurements of the living organism. So that is required in anthropology. So we have there are various methods of personal reconstruction and identification. We do we do genetic counseling, and we tell the couple whether they should go for child or not, or tell them the predictability or chances of defective of spring. We there are chromosomal aberrations that we have been discussing about it in these topic, that is we have this sex related anomaly. We have autosomes. Sex chromosomal abnormalities include Klinefelter syndrome, Turner syndrome, as well as autosomal include Edward syndrome, Patau syndrome, Down syndrome, Cree-to-Jad syndrome. So all these are syndrome are to be cared. There are defects in the chromosomes. There are some defects in the genes, and these genes are transferred from the parents to the offspring. I mean to say that 50% of the genes come from the mother side and 50% of the genes come from the parent side. So in decent in theories of decent theory of, then we have discussed about religious theory, like there are various magical religion functionaries that took a lot of tasks and eradicate the sufferings of the people. Like we have priests do worship, like we have shaman do have some powers. Then we have priest, shaman, and then priest and shaman. We are talking about, we have sorcerers, we have village headman, we have big man that are existing in the pastoral society, in the agricultural society, in the domestication society. And there are also the advanced societies where lot of technologies are being integrated with the different system that I going to integrate with you, that I would like to share with you. That there are various types of autosomal disorders as well as chromosomal disorders that you must understand about it. We are going to discuss lots and lots of topics in this video, that I was discussing with you, that there are so many developmental projects that are being set up in the tribal areas. Now, the tribals have to be rehabilitated to some other place. So there are village autonomous councils in the rural, in the tribal areas and the urban areas, and their job is to prevent the loss of a species that I was discussing with you. They move here and there. They are nomadic people, and they don't bother about their home, but they focus on roaming here and there, and it is giving a detailed analysis of the various topics of the discussion that I was going to help you a lot in this topic. Then there was project. Then what happens, their land is grabbed, and in return of the grabbed land they are shifted to some other village where they lack lost connection with the forest. Also, social organization is completely lost. So, religious activities are totally destroyed. Political life is totally destroyed. So, the job of the government or anthropologist advises the policy makers to be sympathetic to the tribes and do whatever they can do for the up for the rehabilitation of the tribals, so that such a problem does not occur in the future. So that is how we study the anthropology. In its context, we have discussed about the emic and ethic approach should be applied in research methodologies, and also I have discussed about the various fieldwork traditions. E.B. Tyler was armchair anthropologist, and A.C. Haddon and Franz Boas undertook expeditions. So expeditions generated lot of knowledge. Like Malinowski studied the Argonauts of the Western Pacific and made detailed account of their political life, religious life, and social life in it. Also, we have discussed about there are cognition in the mind. Our mind is so sharp and it is cognitive. It is cognitive. It is a thought process that will be eradicate you from the society. So then Tyler Conklin talks about cognitive anthropology. When I talk about cognitive anthropology, you can cognitive anthropology can make you think that the various anthropological thoughts in the cognition. Anthropological thoughts is responsible for determining the culture. Symbolic and interpretative approach we have discussed about in a structural in functionalism like Levi Strauss and Edmund Leach, that you have to discuss it within in detail. That is, you want to express your views and words on the topic that we have discussed about the various kinds of tools. Like we have chopper chopping tools, flake tools in the middle paleolithic period, and hand tools in the upper paleolithic period, and in meso paleolithic period there are microlithic tools. And when I talk about this after Mesolithic period, after other period, then there I donated lots of money. Then I want to discuss that is there in the Purukshatas. Then we have there are karma. Human beings when he does good deeds, then he is removed from the vicious cycle of birth and death. So that is the structure of our ancient social system. We are there to rehabilitate the tribal people. Development projects like construction of dam like Sardar Sarovar Dam, like any Bokaro steel plant, Rourkela steel plant, it left a lot of tribal population without house. And what happened, and now doubt they generated some percentage of employment, but it was not sufficient for the tribal people. So tribal people were not suitably rehabilitated. So now there is tribal advisory council. Whenever any developers, land developers had to lay down any development development projects, then development developers had to contact or discuss with the tribal advisory council. If tribal advisory council yes say yes, then and only then tribal development projects can be initiated in that very area. So also there are many constitutional benefits, like there are article 15, 16, 24, 322, 4. So all these are providing some sort of protections any such a caste that are included in the list as prepared by Constitutional Amendment Act 324 are are called scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So they are backward Hindus. They have not been able to pace with the other society, that is other main societies. So there were efforts were taken like tribal sub-plan development, that is tribal development blocks were set up to undertake programs of welfare and development programs at the village level. So that was the job that was assigned to the anthropologist. And moreover then we have the tribal situation in India. There are many tribals whose languages belongs to language family given by L.B. Vidyarthi and B.K. Rai. And moreover, tribals are called are downtrodden. They are dissatisfied. They want autonomy in their region. They want their languages to be recognized. They want their ethnic identity to be preserved. That is why we see revolt in the Manipur, in the Bodoland, in the Gorkha land. So all these are having some discontent with the government of India. They want to integrate with the mainstream society. That is why they have such type of feelings for the other caste people. So caste, there are many jatis in our country, there are many castes in our country. So there is a occupational mobility in the varna system, but there is no such mobility in the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes phenomena. So when I talked about scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, that is very to know that there are fifth and sixth schedule that are mentioned in the constitution that work for the welfare of the tribal areas. And there are tribal advisory council. So governor, there are setting up of tribal advisory council. Then the various anthropologists refugees, they are having lots of hopes on the government, and the government is trying its level best. Whatever they can do, they will do for the upliftment of the society as well as. So I was also discussing with you like a cytogenetic method, the karyotype analysis, then chromosomal analysis. So all these methods are very much required to understand genetic variability, genetic hereditary. So there is genetic hereditary, there is genetic hereditary, that is we know to discuss the attitudes of the neighbors. So that they want to have a beautiful religion, they have unique religion, but when one attaches a lot towards one's region, then came ethnographic, then it led to the formation of ethnography and ethnology. Monographs were written. There was and society, there was development of anthropology was set up in the Calcutta University, and as well as development of anthropology was set in the Delhi University. So LP Vidyarthi, D.N. Mazumdar, Oscar Levis, they worked for the theory building, and they contributed a lot towards this subject anthropology. So I want to say that again to you, try to write down in your notebooks, then your topics will be utmost clear, and you will be able to score more and more marks in the paper. So I was discussing with you that how to groom, they do the primates. The characteristics of primates are there are many fossils remains. Then we have, there are various forms of religion. The people started worshipping animism. Then there is a naturalism, they started worshipping sun, they started worshipping moon. Then there is a belief of totemism, that is they have some attachment towards some totem object. Okay, so you must understand the various forms of religion. brings solidarity, brings unity in the country. It reduces, it removes the conflicts, and it brought some kind of peaceful environment in the society. So there was no answers, scientific answers in the past. So religion tried to provide the answers to the questions of our ancestors. Okay, so such practices are still continuing in India, in some pockets of India. So you have to must understand the various religious form. So there are various approaches towards the religion. You have to study the characteristics of the religion. So religion is used to communicate information. Religion is used to perform rituals, certain tasks that are performed, and moreover political organization. When I talk about, we have band, tribe, chiefdom, so all the then kindred, then we have this kingdom and state. So these are the various evolution form of political system, like lineage, clan, social lineage, clan. Then we have a super society. So I was discussing with you. You need to remember these things that I am going to discussing with you. That is very much required. Then there are descent. I was discussing with you the various types of descent. We have patrilineal descent, we have unilineal descent, we have ambilineal descent, we have bilateral descent. So how the property moves either in the male line or in the female line. So that descent talks, discuss, tells us about the kinships, that about the various categories of kinship. So there are various secondary kinship, primarily kins, and tertiary kins. So that is some sort of the alliance and theory of alliance and kinship theory. Descent and kinship alliance theory was given by Levi Strauss in his book Elementary Structure of Kinship, where he tried to study the kinship system existing in the present society. So the kins, they live together, they have common ancestors, they try to solve their conflicts by licking hot iron rod, and also on taking oath on the tiger's skin chief. And there is a one post, that is a chief man, chiefdom. So these chiefs are realized, are undertaken to study the things, the people, the society of the village, that we are here to participate in the evergreen people, the evergreen motivation people. So you are here to discuss with you the various tribes, the various bands, the various lineage, clan. Okay, then we have lineage clan, then we have moiety, clans combined to form moiety, then we have fratry, then we have moiety, then we have kindred, means includes all the kins in a relationship. So I am going to discuss with you, that is kinship. Kinship is the web of social relationships. There are various types of kinship. There are descent, means how the whether the property, inheritance of property moves in the male line or in the female line. Toda is a matrilineal society. Garo, Khasi, they are patriarchal society, but Todas is a matrilineal society. Okay, then we have Garo, Khasi, Santhal, Mundas are patriarchal society and patrilineal society. So they have different social life, economic life. They are self-sufficient. They are egalitarian in nature. They work as a cooperative unit, and they are not independent. They are not they are not little republics. Villages are not little republics, as told by Charles Metcalf. Yeah, they are related. They are having networks with other tribals, other societies. Okay, so there is a cultural diffusion there. So cultural diffusion is there, biological diffusion is there. So there are lots of methods of principles of human genetics, you can say family tree analysis, cytogenetic, like a biochemical method, a twin study, co-twin method, foster child method. To study the inheritance pattern, study the inheritance of the gene, how the genes perform its task. When we talk about Mendelian genetics, it has given various laws of independent assortment, law of dominance. Okay, so Mendelian trials was an Austrian monk. So he performed his experiment on the pea plant and brought tremendous results out of his experiment. And he gave theories, that is law of independent assortment, law of dominance. Okay, so there I there is a lot of benefits of ecological anthropology. On the anthropology, then we also study epidemiological anthropology. In this we study about the status of health and the various infectious and non-infectious diseases that have happened to the human beings living in the society, in the rural areas, in the urban areas, as well as in the tribal areas. So that is the something about a nutritional deficiency disease also covered in epidemiological anthropology. Then we have ecological anthropology. Okay, so that we have methods of human genetics, we have language, we have culture that we share with each other. We have Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, that how language determines thought and thoughts determines language. There are school of personality and culture, school of thoughts. Then there is classical evolutionism, that where three main anthropologists, L.G. Morgan, James Fraser, and E.B. Tyler, studied that culture evolved when evolution takes place through the sequence of steps that it has adopted. It has passed through, that is required. Okay, guys, that is required. जैसे मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ वैसे ही आपने इसको समझना है, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी को, that I am going to discuss it with you in detailed manner that I was previously discussing with you. So I have made many videos on the anthropological syllabus that is going to fetch you lot of marks in the paper. That I am teaching you by giving lot of efforts. I am giving lot of efforts while making you understand all these topics of anthropology. So, and there occurs we have been discussing about the economic system that is there in the primitive economy, as well as in the traditional economy, in the modern economy. So economic system, there are various principles that are governing the economic system. There is a production is there, then some things is produced, and there is some distribution is there, some goods service that are produced, like food, grains, food products, they are distributed to the needy people, and there is a exchange occurs, and there are various modes of exchange of things takes place, that is generalized reciprocity is there is a reciprocity, then there is a redistribution, then there is market. There are various modes of exchange, that is reciprocity, generalized reciprocity, negative reciprocity. Okay, then balanced reciprocity, that we discussed in the primitive economy, that happens in the primitive economy. Then we have redistribution that also takes place in the primitive economy, in the Trobari and islanders, where where tribal chief distributes the surplus food grains to the other people, and also tribal chief organizes potlatches where all the peoples are invited, and they have a good food over there and enjoy a lot of food products. And one who waste lot of goods, then they are called very rich people. So such type of economy exists in this primitive economy. So people were self-sufficient, they do barter system. Then there is a reciprocity that is taking place between them. Then it is of different types, that is generalized reciprocity. Then there is a balanced reciprocity. Then there is negative reciprocity. In negative reciprocity, one gains a lot and the other losses, another losses. Okay, then in generalized reciprocity, like in the birthday, during birthday we exchange, we give gift to the person that is having birthday, and that is called generalized reciprocity. Balanced reciprocity means one gives goods and in return take another goods or service. So that is there is a exchange of goods and service with no intention of profit or loss. That is called balanced reciprocity. And in negative reciprocity, there is an intention of profit motive, and one party profits a lot and the other party loses a lot. That is called negative reciprocity. Then there is a redistribution occurs in the primitive societies through the potlatches. Various kinds of potlatches are organized in the primitive societies, and they are invited and they enjoy a lot of goods. Food is wasted so as they able to show their prestige. And we are moving forward, that how these things they move again and again, and how to adopt their features. There is things that is gaining a lot of attention about them. There is a lot of things, economic system, that there is always a formalist debate and substantivist debate in these things. And there are various forms of political organization, that is band, tribe, chiefdom, kingdom, and state. Kingdom occurs in the Iron Age. Mm, and state is like a republic. State of India is a state, and kingdom like Mauryan kingdom, usually it was Iron Age. People were making goods of tools and of iron. And then there was copper bronze age. In copper bronze age, there was role of chiefdom, like Indus Valley civilization. There were priests, there were different social stratification was visible in these Indus Valley civilization, because priests were living, then farmers were living, then agriculturists were living, horticulturists were living. So there was division of rich and poor, because there was a surplus of food production. That food surplus of food production occurred due to agriculture. So it brought about social inequalities. Okay, so there was an also there exist in the Neolithic period, that made use of various polished tools, grounded tools, and tools were of small sizes and shapes. They use sickles, axes, and adzes for their economic activities and political life. There was law and justice that was a very simple kind in these societies. Then there is We have talked about religion. There are various forms of religion. There are various approaches that we are discussing the religion. What is the origin of religion? It has been due to the various factors. People wanted to build up a kingdom. People wanted to build up a kingdom. People wanted to answer certain questions. There were having dreams. They don't know their ancestors came in the dream. They don't know the science behind it. And our primitive society people, they saw various natural calamities, floods, droughts, rainfalls. All these questions were unanswerable to them. So religion, some sort of religion may have developed among them. They might have started thinking that it is due to some natural forces that these natural phenomena are occurring. So they started it is due to some soul, our ancestors soul that are causing such events. So primitive people started worshipping souls. So this is called animism. So animism is the most rudimentary form of belief of a religion, and it is the origin of a religion. Then people started believing in supernatural forces, and they started worshipping supernatural forces, and they said that there is a some superpower in every human beings that is called supernatural forces. Then they started worshipping many deities. They started worshipping idols, and primitive people have also developed arts. They do art in the caves. They make pictures of paintings, cave arts, and they do lot of other activities. They picturize hunting scenes, and it was a group activity. So they do so. They also decorate their body with their jewelries. People of these societies, they wear arts and craft producing communities like blacksmiths, potters, and kumars. They do different arts and crafts activities, and they were providing service to the other section of the society. So people were having simple life. People were not so government are is they are no backward people living in the backward region. There is a we have studied about the tribal caste continuum. So there is no such tight compartmentalization as far as tribes and castes are considered. So tribes and castes are interacting with each other. So the caste people are having the characteristics of tribal people, and tribal people they share the characteristics. They share the festivals, they share the rituals, the customs of the caste people. So there is a sort of continuum that is happening between tribal and caste, that is called tribal caste continuum. Their concept was given by F.G. Bailey. So nature, man, spirit complex. So forests are inseparable part of tribal people. So tribals dependent upon forest. They say that their souls reside in the forest. They depend upon forest for food, for wood. Okay, so they live in the forest, they live in isolation. They live a primitive life, they have primitive economy, they have simple technology like harpoons, then axes, then adze, then nuts, nets. They use simple technology. They are having no education. They were exploited by the British policies, and moreover they were revolted by Mundas Santhals against the British people, the landlords, the money lenders, because money landlords gave loans money to the tribals, and when the tribals were unable to pay their loan, what happened, they had to give their their lands. Tribals had to give their lands back to the landlords. In this way, tribals became landless. There was conflicts. There was a concept of regionalism because they say that there has been lifelong discrimination that is going on with them. They have a unique culture, language. They say that they are different people. They want different state, like there are many, the Jharkhand state, then Chhattisgarh state. They are due to ethnic conflicts. They are due to feeling of regionalism. So sometimes regionalism is poses a great threat to the national integration, that you must remember. So the government anthropologists, they say that tribals must be their voices must be heard. Their schools should be established. They should not feel isolated. They should be allowed to live in their natural environment, so that their relationship with the forest could not get disturbed. So there is regionalism, ethnic conflicts is there, defining things. So tribals, they are having lot of things there. They for Buddhist had converted many tribes to Buddhism. Islam had converted many tribes to Islam, and Christianity had also led them their conversion. So there it has south tribes are having the influence of Christianaries, and western tribes are having influence of Islam. Okay, and Hindus are having influence of tribes. And so this the caste is present in the tribes. And Islam raised the social condition, the economic condition of the people. And Buddhist favored the agriculturalism. Jainism also favored equality. And Islam also did a lot of work for the tribals. And moreover, the it has also impacted the Indian society, like the Krishna missionary schools has been set up. And infrastructure set up in terms of road, in terms of railways. And Christianity had set up a lot of things, and Islam had set up historical monuments in the areas where the Muslim rulers were ruling. And also the Buddhism talk about the various peaceful coexistence of all the religions. So it has a lot of effects of the various religious communities on the tribal people. So tribal people needs to, when they Naxalites there, so they feel they are alienated. So there are tribal and advisory council, tribal sub plan, integrated tribal development council, tribal development blocks are being set up due to India's 5-year plan. There are schedules are there for the welfare of the tribals. And there is a forest policies. The forests where tribals were removed from the forest by the Christians, by the British people, because Britishers wanted to loot the forest. They needed wood for their industries, for bringing for increasing the industrialization. So tribals were called criminals. So lands were snatched from the tribals and were passed to the landlords and the jamidars. And also after the independence, various forest policies were passed, so as to give some rights to the tribals for the forest, like Forest Rights Act 2006. It recognized the relationship of the tribes with the forest. And it made legal that forest that tribals people can take some minor forest produce from the forest, and then they can earn their livelihood, they can survive in the long run. So that was efforts that were taken up by the free India, in the free India. Then there was identification of particular vulnerable tribal groups, particular vulnerable tribal groups, PVTG. So they were extremely backward. They have no strength. They have they are on the verge. Their language is on the verge of extinction. Okay, so government is trying to identify those tribals, and those scheduled caste, scheduled tribes constitutes about 8.6 percent of the total population. So there are constitutional rights or provisions are provided to the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and other backward classes of the Hindu society. So G.S. Gure found for they talked about the caste. Then N.K. Vidyarthi talks about the past, how tribes adopted the Hindu culture and wrote a book called Hindu Methods of Tribal Absorption. So there is a universalization, proclamation, and there is a continuous interaction between little tradition and the great tradition. So when little tradition became part of great tradition, it is called universalization, and then great tradition became part of little tradition, it is called parochialization. So all these phenomena are taking place and bringing about a socio-cultural change in the society. So lot of village studies have been undertaken by the tribal people, and also demographic profile of the studies has been undertaken. Various theories of demographic profiles are being undertaken. We have been discussing about the prehistoric culture, proto-historic culture like pre-Harappan, Harappan and post-Harappan culture, and impact of tribals on the Indian civilization. So tribals are having their natural leaves, they are giving food, they are healing, they are working as they are acting as medicines for the village people. So tribals are doing a lot of things for the upliftment of the tribals. So tribals, agriculture is the legacy of the tribals. They passed this technology to the Indian society, and also tribals also provided Ayurvedic medicine to the various Hindu society, and also there are many words in the language of tribals that are now being used by the Hindu society. So and tribals are they are also good in predicting the tsunamis. When tsunamis came in 2004, what happened? There was a lot of destruction on the coastal areas, but not even a single harm was done to any tribe, so that they could easily predict the tsunamis. Okay, they have a natural way of dealing with. They are in the hunting and gathering tribes like Andaman, Angis, Jarawas. Okay, all they are under particular vulnerable tribal groups. They are excelling in their education. They are qualifying the civil service examination. Tribal people, they tribals are now becoming part of the Indian societies. Eklavya modern residential schools are being set up in the tribal areas to improve the status of education, status of literacy among the tribal people. Many hospitals, dispensaries are being set up in the tribal areas so as to raise their health and well-being, and more over many other steps are being undertaken by the government Okay, so government anthropologists are studying the nutritional status of the various tribes, and in that way studies in this way conclusions are drawn about the nutritional status of the tribes, and also what is the role of menarche, menopause, other biofertility, other events to fertility. Yes, of course, the age between the fertility and the menopause and menarche is called the fertility is the reproduction time period of the age. And in tribal societies, when a girl attains such a menstruation period, so there are certain rituals that they are performed, like I talked to you about liminality and communitas, that they are beings like liminalities is there, communitas is there, and Nampo societies are studied, and then concepts are being developed. Okay, then separation, there are various stages like separation and liminitas and Nambos in the Nambos tribals. So there are so many modes of bride wealth and bride prize takes place, like Kipsikis, their news of Sudan, they share, they transfer their cattle as bride bride wealth. Okay, so one gave cattle, other gave reindeer. So, so there is a customs of brand price and brand bride price and bride wealth that is being taken in the tribal societies. And moreover, the we should be able to understand the societies of categorization and how they are improving, they are going towards the urbanization society, and they are tribal students are now studying in the universities. They are also excelling in the fields, like well, they it has anthropology as application in human genetics. We do genetics study, genes study, we study chromosomal aberration, we study numerical and structural aberrations. Okay, that is we studied about the various the various roles of anthropology and various things. I am going to discuss with you the various we are discussing about genetic polymorphism, then Hardy-Wimber law, that is genetic frequency always remains constant in a random population. Then we have Mendelian population. Then how the ill effects of there it has ill effects, consanguineous mating has ill effects because it leads to generation of recessive trait. They became active. So cousin marriage have some bad effects too. Okay, so there are many changes which gene frequencies, like mutation, like isolation, migration, selection, inbreeding, genetic drift. Okay, genetic polymorphism, this it is an example of genetic polymorphism, that is single factor inheritance. One gene is responsible for a trait. Multi-factor inheritance and polygenic inheritance means there are many genes are responsible, as well as the environment is responsible. Multi-factor means there are many factors like the environment as well as the multiple genes are responsible for the occurrence of a particular trait. Okay, so there are okay, then we have human physique and somatotypes that we have discussed. Okay, then let us I am going to discuss how the anthro this what is the role of this what is the various languages, that is socioeconomic characteristics of the tribal population and their distribution. Okay, what is the significance of village study in India? So how village is working as a social system. Of course, village is a social system because there is a Jijmani system in the village. A village is a agricultural economy. Village is not like in a tight watertight compartment. Okay, there are impact of globalization on the Indian village. It is acting as a social system. Okay, so there are various religious minorities, there are various linguistic minorities that are living in India, and their social condition, their economic condition, the political condition is very poor. Okay, so we are discussing about the impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, and Christianity on the Indian society, that you must read about, that you must know about it. It has also impact of on the tribal societies. I am going to discuss with you detailing the things about the how the various religious people languages are spoken, various linguistic diversities are there, like Indo-European languages are there, then Dravidian languages are there, then Sino-Tibetan languages is there, then Proto-Australian languages are there. So various languages that are spoken by the tribes, they fall under the various categories of the languages group. And also various races are living in India, like studied by Acharisley, then G.S. Gure, then Sarkar classification, racial classification. There is a various major racials are living are three races are there, broadly categorization is there: Caucasoid, Mongoloids, and Negroids. Okay, then Proto-Australoids are living in there. Then Western cephalics are living in there. Brachycephalics are living in there. Okay, then Dravidians are living in there. Okay, so these people have different physical characteristics. They have different genetic variation. That they have different blood group. They have different RH system, MN system, blood pulse rate. Then different. They are having different classifications. Is their biological classification. Then cultural classification is there. Okay, so what is the Hinduism? What has happened? So there has happened Sanskritization has been occurred among the tribal people. So tribal people are moving to the higher varnas. They are adopting the rituals and customs of the higher caste people. So there are incorporations of deities, for example. Okay, say so there the deities that are being offered worship by the Hindus. Now the deities like Durga Puja, they are also being done by the tribal people. Okay, so there is a so it is a there is a loss of autonomy, there is a loss of matrilineal belief, there is a lot of tribal practices that are being eradicated. Okay, there is a but they very egalitarian in nature. No, there is a social stratification is being done in the tribal people. Okay, so there is a lot of impact of Hinduism. Hinduism is causing a lot of impact on Hinduism. They are social stratification are causing. They are dividing the society into different classes. They are adopting the local deities, and Hindus are asking them to Sanskritization. They are adopting, and there is a loss of autonomy. There is a cultural erosion. So there is a tribal society. So Buddhist has a appeal on equality. So they are matching with the ideas of tribal people. Tribal societies are egalitarian in nature, and Buddhism also teaches emphasis on equality and non-violence. Okay, so they are so they also there are various institutions like Arunachal Pradesh and Ladakh. So what had happened? They had also adopted, like Hinduism, tribals had also adopted the Buddhist rituals, and the various monastic institutions that are there. They are following those institutions, and they are adopting tribal institutions. Like we are following our temple, they are also following our their institutions. So they are their culture erosion is taking place due to Hinduism, but there is a culture preservation there. Buddhist culture is also is existing along with the other their tribal culture. Okay, so Sherpas, Lepchas, though they are following the combination of Buddhist culture as well as the Buddhist culture as well as the tribal practices. So Christianity, they had brought education, they had modernized them, they have empowered social empower. They have developed a sense of dignity among them. The mainstream society, they are causing the cultural change, social upliftment. So education that they are bringing, they okay. So then they are there are though this Christianity influence is also integrating them to the formation of various tribal movements. They are also generating tribal movements. Those so these when they are Christian, they are adopting Christianity. They are uniting with each other, and they are uniting with each other, and they are launching many movements. Okay, then Islam has an impact on their culture, on their rituals. Okay, they also spread the egalitarian practices. Okay, they also they also the okay. So their economies has been integrated. Okay, so their trade and cultural their egalitarian principle. Okay, so there is a coexistence of the Islamic practices, beliefs as well as the tribal beliefs. Okay, so for example, Pathans of Assam. So the elements are they also believing simultaneously. They are adopting the beliefs of tribal belief as well as Islamic belief. Okay, of course, there are various overall impact is there. There is a social impact is there. There is cultural impact is there. There is economic impact is there. So they social impact, cultural impact is there in every way. So culturally impact is there. So they are in their art, in their music, in the education, in the health, in the okay, then economics, they are integrated in their economies. Okay, so there are many lot of transformations that are being talking of by the various impact of Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Jainism on the tribal beliefs. So they are causing political unity. They are launching various tribal movements in the northeast India. They are education is spread is there in there. There is a cultural erosion is taking place among them. Their cultural assimilation is there. They are worshipping the local deities. They are also the coexistence of this tribal beliefs, Islam belief, as well as the beliefs of a religious institution. They are following the institutions of the Christians institutions. Okay, they impact on egalitarian principles. They have impact on profound impact on egalitarian principle, and in those brought about social stratification among the various tribal people. So there is a lot of impact on the tribals. Okay, so so there is a coexistence. There is a resistance is there. Sometimes we see adaptation is there. Sometimes there is a resistance. Sometimes there is a syncretism. Okay, so okay, so tribals want to maintain a balance because they want to preserve their traditional identity, but also want to adapt the larger that is the cultural, the religious aspects of India. So that is various things. So that is very much no. I before I finished this videos, I have 10 to 15 minutes that I devoted myself to discussing a lot of things about you with you about the paper one and paper two. Okay, so so there are tribal communities that are living in India and that are living in okay. So what is a tribe? Tribe is a social group. They share a common ancestor. They share a common language. They share a common religion, the common culture. Okay, so so tribal societies and nation state. There is a relation between the tribal and the nation state. So there is a issue of we have to tribe. There is a nations. What is a conflict point? Okay, so tribals they focus on autonomy, but nation state focus on unity. Okay, so they focus on culture. They have a different culture, but nation state says that no, we have a common culture. They talks about national integration. Okay, so they have a kinship system, tribes, nation state, and conflict point. Okay, so it believes in that there is has to be uniformity, there has to be control, but tribes believe that no, we don't need uniformity, we need distinctiveness, we need cultural, we have different culture, you have different culture, they don't need more control. So there are many 700 tribal communities in India. So ठीक है, so we have Nagas, we have Mizos, we have Todas, we have Gons, we have Santals, we have Bhils. Okay, so okay, so how, when I talk about tribal people, so in how they are related with Indian state. So there are, you can say, fifth schedule and sixth schedule for the tribal peoples, and they are in this way they are integrated with India. So there are forest right acts. This also integrates the tribals with the nation state. Okay, so it protects the tribals interest, it also protects the tribals interest. So what is the sort of relation between them? So government is trying to have a very simple, a very good relation with the tribals, but there are very issues are happening. They are poor literacy rate, they are underemployed, they are displacement is there. Okay, they have a fear of loss of identity. Okay, they want political representation, self rule, but there are various constitutional rights that are protecting their interest, like article 275, 324, article 244, fifth schedule tribes protects tribal interest. Okay, so what? So there Naga movements is there, Mizo movements is there. Okay, so these poses a challenge between the tribes and the nation state. Okay, so when there are tribal in other communities like Africa, we have Maasai tribe, we have Zulu tribe. Okay, they are living in African tribes. Okay, so they you have when you are living in a country, you will face pressure of modernization. You will see pressure modernization, but on the other hand, you want to maintain your cultural identity. Okay, okay, so that is the kind of problem in Africa. And in North American tribes. We have North America, we have Native American tribes like Navajo. Okay, we have Navajo, Cherokee. Okay, historical. They have a trauma due to displacement. They have limited self rule. They have some sort of a reservation. They have some sort of reservation, like India, they have some sort of reservation in North America, like Navajo. Okay, they have US federal laws is there. They have a reservation in US federal law, and they also wanted to have cultural isolation, cultural assimilation is there. They are losing their identity. They want, they are various trauma is there due to displacement is there. उनको भी डिस्प्लेसमेंट हुआ है, वहां पे भी ऐसे ही प्रॉब्लम है जैसे नेटिव इंडिया में है, नेटिव अमेरिकन में है, अफ्रीका में है। वो अपनी आइडेंटिटी मेंटेन करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन मॉडर्नाइजेशन का उनके ऊपर तो इन्फ्लुएंस होएगा ही होएगा। ओके, इंडिजिनस ट्राइब्स हैं जो, ठीक है। तो तो वहां पे उनको कुछ पॉलिटिकल राइट्स कहीं पे मिलते हैं, कहीं पे उनकी रिजर्वेशन है, लेकिन लैटिन अमेरिका में उनको जो है वो पॉलिटिकल राइट्स मिलते हैं। इंडिजिनस ट्राइब लाइक अमेजोनियन जो ट्राइब्स हैं, ओके। तो तो प्लूरी नेशनल स्टेट्स, तो वहां पे कहते हैं कि वो उनको एक अलग से एक यूनि नेशनल स्टेट्स ना बल्कि प्लूरी नेशनल स्टेट की यहाँ पे प्लूरलिज्म है उसको वो एक्सेप्ट करते हैं। अमेजोनियन के ट्राइब्स की बात करें, नवाजो ट्राइब है नॉर्थ मीडिया का, नेटिव अमेरिकन ट्राइब्स, नॉर्थ अमेरिकन ट्राइब्स, लैटिव अमेरिकन ट्राइब, साउथ अमेरिकन ट्राइब्स, नेटिव अमेरिकन ट्राइब, लैटिन अमेरिकन ट्राइब्स, ओके। देन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, ऑस्ट्रेलियन अबोरिजिन्स, ओके, दे आर फाइटिंग फॉर द, उनको लैंड में राइट्स चाहिए, उनको फ्रीडम चाहिए, उनको कंफ्लिक्ट नहीं चाहिए, उनको आइसोलेशन चाहिए, कल्चरल अपलिफ्ट में कल्चरल इंटीग्रिटी चाहिए, वो कल्चर को मेंटेन करके रखना चाहते हैं। ओके, सो दे वांट, सो देयर इज अ एनालिसिस ऑफ दिस, देयर इज अ various issues are there, we have to balance such issues. Okay, there is a there are various reservations are there, constitutional protections are there, there are governmental political rights are there, like in India they have reservations in the elections, they have reservations in the jobs, they have political rights, they have land rights, they have cultural integration, they have legal recognition is there। Okay, so must understand this। So global phenomena है। Okay, so नेशनल प्लूरलिटी को रिकॉग्नाइज करना है नेशनल आइडेंटिटी के साथ। ओके, सो तो उनकी पार्टिसिपेटरी डेवलपमेंट करनी चाहिए, पार्टिसिपेटरी डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर फोकस करना चाहिए। तो ये है ट्राइबल नेशन स्टेट्स। हमने लैटिन अमेरिका की बात की, हमने लैटिन अमेरिका है क्या, देखो पहले है ऑस्ट्रेलियन अबोरिजिन्स है ना, वहां पे लैंड राइट्स के लिए ये लोग फाइट कर रहे हैं। नेटिव अमेरिकन हैं जो कि नॉर्थ अमेरिकन हैं, लैटिन अमेरिकन हैं जो साउथ अमेरिकन हैं, जैसे ट्राइब्स हैं, कौन से ट्राइब्स हैं, अमेजोनियन ट्राइब्स हैं, नवाजो ट्राइब्स हैं, नेटिव अमेरिकन ट्राइब्स हैं। तो ये क्या करते हैं, इनमें कुछ इनकी रिजर्वेशन हैं, लॉज में इनको रिजर्वेशन दी गई है, इनको पॉलिटिकल राइट्स दिए गए हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में इनको लैंड के राइट्स दिए गए हैं इनको। तो इनकी प्लूरलिज्म को रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया है कहीं ना कहीं। अफ्रीका की बात करें, मसाई ट्राइब है वहां पे, न्यू ट्राइब है, तो वहां पे इनके लिए जो है इनकी कोशिश होती है कि अपने कल्चर को प्रिजर्व करके रखें, अपनी आइडेंटिटी को बना के रखें ये इंडिया। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं प्रेशर होता है मॉडर्नाइजेशन का, कहीं ना कहीं हम जब ट्राइबल कास्ट कॉन्टिनेंट देखते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं जब इम्पैक्ट होता है हिंदुइज्म का, बुद्धिज्म का, जैनिज्म का, तो उनको कहीं ना कहीं मॉडलिंग उनकी हो जाती है। वो चाहते तो हैं कि अपने जो ट्रेडिशनल बिलीव है उसके साथ साथ जो नए जो बिलीफ सिस्टम है उनको भी अडेप्ट, उनके साथ भी अडेप्ट करें। तो ये कहीं ना कहीं हमने देखा कि ट्राइबल्स और नेशन स्टेट का जो एक कंफ्लिक्ट है इसको हमें प्लूरलिज्म को रिकॉग्नाइज करना जरूरी है। कल्चरल एसिमिलेशन के साथ साथ कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी की भी जरूरी है। सेल्फ फूड को थोड़ा बढ़ावा देने की जरूरत है, उसमें उनकी रीजनलिज्म को थोड़ा सा उसके ऊपर भी फोकस करना जरूरी है। उनके राइट्स, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट्स उनके ऊपर इम्प्लीमेंट करना बहुत जरूरी है। फॉरेस्ट राइट्स एक्ट जैसे हम दिए गए हैं, फॉरेस्ट राइट्स एक्ट वो उनको देने की जरूरत है ताकि उनका रिलेशन जो है फॉरेस्ट के साथ बना रहे। ठीक है, तो इसके साथ साथ हम उनको हम मेन स्ट्रीम सोसाइटीज के साथ जोड़ने के लिए वहाँ पे हम एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन सेटअप कर रहे हैं, हम हेल्थ इंस्टीट्यूशन सेटअप कर रहे हैं, हम उनको न्यूट्रिशनल गाइडेंस प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, तो इंटीग्रेशन भी हम कर रहे हैं, उनका हम आइसोलेशन में भी उनको रहने दिया जा रहा है। तो हमें एक होलिस्टिक अप्रोच अपनानी है ताकि वो अपने आप को कंप्लीटली एलिनेटेड ना फील करें, क्योंकि डिस्प्लेसमेंट को रोकना बहुत जरूरी है। तो ये है ट्राइब एंड नेशन स्टेट। तो गाइस, मैं डिस्कस किया है मैंने 2 घंटे तक आपके साथ, मैंने वीडियोस पे मैंने लंबी बात की है आपके साथ। तो गाइस, आपको कहीं भी डाउट आपको आता है वो आपने मेरे से पूछना है। बस आपने आपको डाउट्स, आप जब जितने ज्यादा डाउट्स आप मेरे से पूछेंगे उतनी ही ज्यादा मेरी ग्रिलिंग होगी और उतना ही आपका बेनिफिट होगा। मेरा तो बेनिफिट होगा ही होगा, मेरी नॉलेज एनहांसमेंट तो होगी होगी। जो मेरे को क्वेश्चन आता होगा आंसर, वो मैं आंसर आपको इमीडिएट प्रोवाइड कर दूंगा। हाँ, जिसके लिए मुझे सर्च करने की जरूरत होगी तो उसके लिए आप मेरे को क्वेश्चंस प्रोवाइड कर देना, मैं उसके आंसर्स निकालूंगा और मैं डेफिनेटली एक वॉइस में मैं आपको आपके साथ आंसर्स को आपके समक्ष रखूंगा। मेरा मकसद है आपको एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड करना, नॉलेज प्रोवाइड करना, है ना। जो एंथ्रोपोलॉजी का सब्जेक्ट है उसको डीपली मैं स्टडी कराता हूँ आपको, ताकि आपके अंदर कोई डाउट ना रहे, कोई मंशा ना रहे किसी भी किस्म का। आप फ्री हो गए एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट में, आप किसी भी बैकग्राउंड से हैं, आर्ट्स बैकग्राउंड से है, मेडिकल बैकग्राउंड से है, साइंस बैकग्राउंड से है, आप इस एंथ्रोपोलॉजी सब्जेक्ट्स को ले सकते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। इसको तैयार कराना मेरा काम है, तो मेरे पे छोड़ दीजिए। आई विल गिव यू रिजल्ट। आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा, मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, आपको जैसे मैं बताऊंगा वैसे आपको मेरी गाइडेंस को लेना पड़ेगा। आपको बुक्स के नाम भी मैंने बताए हैं, तो मेरी वीडियोस को रेफर कीजिए। मैंने हर सेक्शंस पे मैंने बुक बताई है। फिजिकल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी की मैंने सेपरेटली बुक बताई है, सोशल कल्चरल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी की मैंने सेपरेटली बुक बताई है, आर्कियोलॉजी की मैंने सेपरेटली बुक बताई है। ओके, ट्राइबल इंडिया में मैंने अलग से बुक बताई है। ठीक है, इंडियन एंथ्रोपोलॉजी के ऊपर मैंने अलग से बुक बताई है। ये बुक्स आप रख लीजिए, ज्यादा बुक्स नहीं, 5 6 बुक्स आपको लेनी पड़ेगी। इन बुक्स को आपको रेफर करना है, आपको नोट्स भी मैं बना के दूंगा, आपको खुद से भी वैल्यू एडिशन करनी है। आप जब न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें कोई आर्टिकल देखते हैं, आप वो आर्टिकल अगर आपके टॉपिक से रिलेटेड है तो उसको तुरंत ही अपनी नोटबुक में नोट कर लीजिए, या उसकी कटिंग जो है अपनी नोटबुक में चिपका लीजिए, पेस्ट कर लीजिए। तो यही तरीका है पढ़ने का, है ना। कोई स्पून फीडिंग तो कोई नहीं कराएगा आपको, आपको गाइडेंस की जरूरत है जो कि मैं दूंगा। बाकी मेहनत आपको करनी है ना, एफर्ट्स आपको देने हैं। बाकी 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 आप जो है गॉड पे छोड़ दीजिए। बाकी मेहनत आप ईमानदारी से करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली मैं दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ कि आपके नंबर डेफिनेटली आपको एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में आपको अच्छा स्कोर मिलेगा। ओके, तो ये था एंथ्रोपोलॉजी का ये वीडियो, जो कि मैंने बड़े ही ध्यान से, बड़े ही डिटेल में आपको समझाने की कोशिश की है गाइस। इसको आप पढ़िए, मैंने इतनी मेहनत से मैंने 400 के ऊपर वीडियोस बनाए हैं। मैं वीडियोस बनाता रहूंगा, 1000 वीडियोस बनाऊंगा। आपका काम है वीडियोस को रेफर करना, मेरा काम है वीडियोस को पढ़ाना। तो गाइस, आप अपने हौसले बुलंद रखिए, हार नहीं माननी है। ठीक है, जीत के लिए लड़ाई ऐसी करनी है कि जीत निश्चित हो आपकी। ओके गाइस, तो आते हैं हम एंथ्रोपोलॉजी पे वापस। तो एंथ्रोपोलॉजी ने, इसका जो रिलीजन है, बहुत काम किया। हिंदुज्म ने संस्कृताइजेशन दिया, इस्लाम ने इग्लिटेरियनिज्म का पाठ पढ़ाया, इस्लाम ने अपने रिचुअल्स दिए, क्रिश्चियंस ने एजुकेशन पे फोकस किया, बुद्धिस्ट ने इग्लिटेरियनिज्म का पाठ पढ़ाया, और लोग जो थे ट्राइबल सोसाइटीज हैं, उन्होंने बुद्धिस्ट के रिचुअल्स के साथ साथ अपने जो ट्रेडिशनल रिचुअल्स थे उनको भी प्रिजर्व करके रखा. दे ऑल्सो प्रिजर्व देयर ओन रिचुअल्स. That traditional rituals was preserved along with the Buddhist rituals or the Muslim rituals. Tribal people started worshipping deities like Durga. They did Durga Puja, Lord Shiva Puja. That is the beauty of this subject. We study the society, we study the tribes, we study the culture, we study the civilization, we study the fossil evidences, we study the primates, we study the ecological anthropology, epidemiological anthropology, tribes and nation states, how tribes are evolving, how they are continuously passing through the stages of physical changes, economic changes, social changes, cultural changes. The social impacts, economic impacts, political impacts are doing a wonderful job for, and it has impacting, and they are impacting the tribal people as well as the Indian population. Oh, that is reflecting our religious aspects. So religion, we study the customs, we study the family, the marriage, the political system, the economic system, the religion. So paper one is static part, paper two is dynamic part. But I would say that there is static and dynamic portion in paper one as well as there is a static and dynamic portion in paper two, guys. तो guys, अगर आपने मेरे वीडियो को लाइक नहीं किया है तो मेरे वीडियो को लाइक करें. अगर मेरे वीडियो को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो मेरे वीडियो को जरूर, मेरे चैनल को, मेरे यूट्यूब चैनल को जरूर सब्सक्राइब करें गाइस, और वीडियोस को रेफर करें गाइस, और मेरे चैनल को शेयर भी करें. बाय गाइस, टेक केयर.